Today's Tuesday, May 26th, 2026. I just got back from a 3-day holiday. Yesterday was the substitute holiday for Buddha's birthday, which fell on Sunday. When the important celebration holiday falls on the particular weekends, then the government designates the following day as the alternative replacement or substitute day that we lost for. So I just got back from Gwangju, my hometown, last night, and there were a lot of cars on the streets, on the highways. This article is from Yahoo.com and it's by Boldy. I retired with $1 million and a bucket list, and 6 months later, I am spending my days watching CNN and wondering if this is it. Bold team. Monday, May 18th, 2026. I remember the last day of work clearly. Cake in the break room, a card signed by people I would spend 30 years alongside, a speech I'd rehearsed that came out better than I expected. 30 days alongside, that's a good expression that I could use. Cake in the break room, a card signed by people I'd spent 30 years alongside, right? Alongside. We would normally say together with, but sometimes we're not together with them. Sometimes we go our separate ways to work on the job, right? Cake in the break room. A speech I rehearsed that came out better than I expected. I drove home with a box of desk items in the back seat and a feeling I can only describe as this is it, the beginning of the part I had been working toward, the reward at the end of the very long thing. That was 6 months ago. This morning I watched 4 hours of cable news, ate lunch at 11 because there was no reason not to, and spent 20 minutes reading reviews for a coffee maker I don't need. The bucket list is on the refrigerator. I've looked at it every day. I haven't crossed anything off. I want to be clear. I am not grateful. I know what I have. I know what it took to get here, and I know how many people never make it. That knowledge is part of what makes this so hard to admit, because the life I'm describing sounds like complaining about a price, but something is wrong, or at least something is missing. And I've been sitting with it long enough now that I think I understand what it is. Here's what I've figured out from the inside of a retirement that looked perfect on paper. Right? That looked perfect on paper. 1. The calendar was doing more work than I knew. What does it mean? I hated meetings. I complained about them for 30 years. The standing Monday call, the quarterly review, and the check-ins that could have been emails. I walked out of that office convinced I would never miss a single one. Check-ins that could have been emails. The quarterly review. The standing morning call. That's a good expression. Means it regularly occurs, right? The meeting calls occur on a regular interval on every Monday. The standing committee. We say standing committee. The standing Monday call. I miss them. Not the meetings themselves, the structure they provided, the reason to be somewhere at a particular time, the sense of a day divided into purpose rather than drifting open-ended from morning to evening with no shape and no stakes. I didn't understand until it was gone how much of my sense of forward motion came from the simple fact of having somewhere to be. The calendar wasn't just scheduling, it was architecture, and I tore the whole building down on my last day and didn't think to build anything in its place. 2. I don't know who I am without a title. 31 years as a CFO, that was the answer to what do you do? The sentence that arrived automatically, that organized other people's understanding of me, and I'm realizing my understanding of myself. Studies on identity and retirement have found out that people who tied most of their self-worth to their job title tend to feel the most lost in the first year after leaving it, not because the work was so meaningful, but because the role told them who they were. I'm 68 years old, and I don't know how to answer what do you do anymore. I say retired and watch people's eyes move on, and something in me moves on too, to a question I haven't solved yet. So it's difficult when you retire from a higher position, right? 31 years as a CFO, that was the answer to what you do. The sentence that arrived automatically, that organized other people's understanding of me, and I'm realizing my understanding of myself. The bucket list is someone else's idea of my life. I made it 15 years ago. New Zealand safari, learn Italian, take a cooking class in Paris. All of it reasonable, all of it appalling in the abstract, none of it connected to anything I actually hunger for right now. The bucket list was assembled by a version of me who was busy and imagined that what he needed was time and travel and novel experiences. What the actual me seems to need is harder to name. Something more like a purpose than vacation. Something that requires me specifically my particular experience and knowledge and way of seeing rather than something anyone with a passport and a retirement account could do just as well. 4. My wife and I are in the house together all day now. We have a good marriage. I want to be careful to say that first because what I'm about to say could be misread. What nobody warned us about was the proximity. Psychologists who work with retiring couples say it's one of the most underestimated adjustments. Two people who love each other suddenly home together all day, with separate rhythms that were never designed to overlap between 9 and 5. She has her things. I've wandered into them. She is patient about it. I'm aware that patience has a limit. 5. I thought rest would feel like rest. I was tired for years, genuinely a bone deep retired in the way that only accumulates after decades of sustained responsibility. Bone deep tired, right? Bone deep tired. I fantasized about sleep, about slow mornings, about days with no demands. Turns out the relief is real but short. Most people burn through it in about 2 weeks before the need for challenge and purpose reasserts itself, regardless of how exhausted they were before they stopped. I know this because it happened to me almost on schedule. Reset is a recovery state, not a destination I recovered. And then I needed somewhere to go, and I hadn't built anywhere to go. A CNN 6. A CNN is a replacement for feeling engaged with the world. I understand this about myself now, which doesn't make me turn it off. When I was working, I was inside things. Decisions got made, problems got solved. My presence, judgment, and experience made a difference to actual outcomes. The news gives me the sensation of being engaged without requiring me to actually be engaged. I have very strong opinions about things I have no influence over, and I share them with no one, and nothing changes, and I turn it on again the next morning. It's not a good use of whatever time I have left. I know this. Knowing it and doing something about it turn out to be two separate projects. 7. The friends I thought I would see more are just as busy as I am. I had a whole mental picture of retirement as a kind of extended reunion. The people I'd lost touch with during the busy years, the friendships I'd promised myself I would tend when I had time. What I didn't account for was that most of them are still working, or that the ones who are retired have built structures I am not part of yet, or that friendship, it turns out, doesn't automatically reconstitute itself just because you've cleared your schedule. Research on social connection and retirement adjustment has found that maintaining meaningful social engagement is the single strongest predictor of successful retirement satisfaction, and that it requires active construction, not passive waiting. I have been passively waiting. The phone hasn't rung as often as I expected. I haven't made it ring more often either. That's on me. I have been passively waiting. The phone hasn't rung as often as I expected. I haven't made it ring more often either. That's on me. Active construction. It requires active construction, right? 8. I'm grieving something I can't name. The work wasn't always good. Some years it was genuinely bad. The pressure, the politics, the cost, it extracted from my family and my health and my interior life. I do not miss those things. But something died when I left, and I haven't been allowed to mourn it properly because the actual script for retirement is celebration. Cake and cards, and you must be so relieved, and I was relieved, and I am also grieving. Both things are true, and only one of them is acceptable to say out loud, which means I have been carrying the other one alone in a quiet house with a TV on. 9. The bucket list items require a version of me that doesn't exist yet. The man who would enjoy the safari, who would learn Italian with genuine enthusiasm, who would be present enough in his own life to taste the cooking class in Paris. I am not sure that man has arrived yet. He was supposed to arrive at retirement. I think he is still in transit. I think the work of this period isn't the bucket list. It's building the interior conditions under which the bucket list becomes something other than an obligation. That's a slower work than booking flights. It's also, I'm starting to understand, the actual work. 10. I have more to give than anyone is currently asking for. 3 decades of experience, a specific and hard-won understanding of how organizations work, where they break down what leadership actually requires versus what it performs, the ability to see around corners that only comes from having gone around enough of them. All of it is just sitting here. The mentorship I could offer, the problems I could help solve, the institutional knowledge that took a lifetime to accumulate, none of it transfers automatically out the door when you clean out your desk. I haven't found the right channel for it yet. None of it transfers automatically out the door when you clean out your desk. That's good expression. When you clean out your desk. When you clean out your desk. 11. The question I should have asked before I retired was, what am I retiring to? Not from. To, right? Important thing is to. That's good precept. I planned the financial part of this with meticulous care for 20 years. The number, the timeline, the accounts, the projections, the contingencies. I planned the escape down the last decimal point. I did not plan what I was escaping into. I'm doing that work now, belatedly, from the inside of life that has more space in it than I know how to fill. It's uncomfortable in a way I didn't expect, and I couldn't have been told, but I'm starting to think the discomfort is the point, that this is what it feels like to finally have enough stillness to hear the question I have been too busy to ask for 30 years. What do I actually want, not what can I afford, not what do I owe, or what is expected. What do I want? I'm working on it, slowly, with the TV off. What do I actually want? Not what can I afford, not what do I owe, not what is expected. It is uncomfortable in a way I didn't expect and couldn't have been told, but I'm starting to think the discomfort is the point, that this is what it feels like to finally have enough stillness to hear the question I have been too busy to ask for 30 years. Editor's note: as told to Boldy, stories are inspired by reader submissions, interviews, and accounts shared with our editorial team. Details are often changed, combined, and dramatized, and our editors use AI tools in the writing process, right? Dramatized. Details are often changed, combined, or dramatized, And our editors use AI tools in the writing process. Details are often changed, combined, or dramatized, and our editors use AI tools in the writing process. So the important thing is when you retire, you are not happy automatically. You need to have a purpose in your life, in your retirement life. The most important thing is what do you want to, right? What do you want? What do you want to do, right? You could be busy, you could be not busy. You have to interact with your wife for 9 to 5, and it's difficult to coexist together. As for me, I would travel around the world because I have money to afford to spend, and maybe I will just go to China, Canada, the US, or Chile to have international import and export business. I would like to establish a company that imports and exports products and services, and probably it wouldn't hurt to have a son, right? I have 2 daughters, so a son would be nice for addition. I could bestow a lot of my bequest asset to him, even though there would be like 60 years gap between me and my son. Another issue would be like traveling with a lot of friends, including females. It would be much fun. And I am still learning Chinese, so I will continue to study Chinese way into retirement. I hope to be fluent before I retire, but that means I have to have a lot of commitment and energy to be poured into this project. So this article just gave me like a waking call. Before we finish this article, let's go back and see what I try to remember. Details are often changed, combined, or dramatized, and our editors use AI tools in the writing process. When you clean out your desk, when it's not clean your desk, it's not clean off your desk, or clean of your desk, or clean on the desk, it's clean out the desk. Bone deep tired. When you clean out desk, it's just cliche, right? You have to remember, clean out. Bone deep retired. The standing morning call. The standing Monday call. The standing Monday call. The standing Monday call. Looked perfect on paper. Looked perfect on paper. Cake in the break room. A card signed by people I would spend 30 years alongside. Cake in the break room. A card signed by people I'd spent 30 years alongside. Cake in the break room. A card signed by people I'd spent 30 years alongside. A cake, not a cake, but cake in the break room. I would say a union's room or a restroom, but it's a break room, right? Break room. Give me a break. Give me a break. A cake in the break room. Thanks for listening. Have a great day. Bye-bye.